Oh, wow. Blizzard panic.
Blizzard are facing a phenomenal amount of backlash in the wake of their handling of Hearthstone pro Blitzchung's protest.
Yep.
Official Blizzard statements have been met with hostility. Fans are calling for boycotts and cancelled memberships. Epic have even came in to dunk on them. Other esports players are adding their own voices to the protest, and even Blizzard's own staff are protesting over broken company values. And all of this as even politicians get involved. With a disaster on their hands here and BlizzCon on the near horizon, Blizzard are in for a rough ride, one entirely of their own making.
Okay.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Industry Report, the series where we take an in-depth look at the biggest stories going on in the industry, and I don't think it gets much bigger than this one. As always, if you enjoy the content, be sure to like, sub, and ring that bell. It lets YouTube know that you enjoy us, and it's good for the algorithm. And with all that said, let's get into the video. First, an ultra-fast catch-up. Following victory at the Grandmasters tournament, Blitzchung, a player, appeared on the Taiwanese Hearthstone stream wearing a gas mask and goggles, both symbols of the Hong Kong protests. Two casters of the stream, according to a number of commenters asking translations, told Blitzchung that the interview would end once he said what he was going to say. They then ducked behind their desks. As they did that, Blitzchung proceeded to say, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our age," into the webcam. The stream was promptly cut off. Blizzard's response was swift, panicked, and a little more than ruthless. The clip of Blitzchung's statement was pulled from the Taiwanese Hearthstone channel, along with the entire day of play. Blitzchung was removed from the Grandmasters tournament and banned from all professional play for 1 year and had his prize money rescinded. The casters were also fired by Blizzard, presumably for facilitating the protest and not preemptively, shutting the thing down. Now, Blizzard's reasoning for Blitzchung's dismissal was that his actions contravened official competition rules and constituted individual behavior which does not represent Blizzard or Hearthstone esports. Of course, that's just what they wanted you to hear in the West, because the official Hearthstone account on China's social media site Weibo also made a statement following Blitzchung's removal.
What did they say?
Working with languages is quite difficult, and Mandarin is an incredibly contextual and nuanced language. But thanks to some very, very helpful assistance from Spanking Jackson on our Discord server, we have an idea of what was said a bit more specifically. In short, the statement amounted to a strongly worded disapproval of Blitzchung and the casters' actions, as well as them stating their own point of political view. The post announced that the casters would never have the opportunity to work with any Blizzard event in the future, and it concluded by saying this: "At the same time, we shall, as we always have, resolutely uphold our country's honor." Which is a bizarre statement coming from a US company, that's for sure. The reaction from the community has been fierce and uniquely far-reaching. Blitzchung has since said in an interview with AFP, "I sacrificed my time hanging out with my friends and studying because of this competition. Even though it seemed I had wasted 4 years of time, I have something more important in my heart. If we lose the movement, Hong Kong will end forever." Then a notable response relating to him came courtesy of Gods Unchained, a new TCG still in its beta. The team reached out to Blitzchung on Twitter, confirming that they will pay for all his lost winnings and they'll give him a ticket to their 500k tournament and pay for it. They conclude by saying that no player should be punished for their beliefs. Now, corporate activism here, it should be taken with a pinch of salt, because of course, they do stand to gain by making this statement, but I think this particular instance involving the Gods Unchained team, it's drawing a very decisive line in the sand on where they stand on this issue.
Well, whenever they stand to gain from it, at least. I'm sorry, guys, but my skepticism for political corporate activism is only strengthened by this. Of course, they're going to take the time to advertise themselves with a small amount of money, right? They're going to give this guy $50,000, whatever, right? And they'll do this thing to position themselves to be the good guys, right? And generate a lot of goodwill. Everybody's talking about them now. We know what their name is, etc. I'm talking about them. You guys know what their name is, etc., right? Now, $500,000? Is it $500,000? Okay, that's a lot of fucking money. So cynical? Of course I am. I'm extremely cynical. I always assume that everything has a secondary motive and nothing is genuine, or people don't have any sort of actual morals or care about this at all. That's where they've given him $3K. Ticket to 500K tournament. Oh, it's a 500K tournament. Okay, so they're not giving him $500,000. Okay, never mind. I don't know why you guys are saying that, but anyway, so like of course they're going to use this opportunity to promote their own game, right? I mean that's what's happening is they're using this opportunity to promote their own game. They're just doing it for a way that people agree with, so people are okay with it. But it's the same thing.
And in the process, they likely sacrificed any chance of gaining Chinese approval. So because of that and because of the obvious lost earnings potential there, I think it is a genuine principled stand that they're making. And I suppose speaking of direct things,
so.
Epic Games of all people have made a statement in reaction to Blizzard's mess. The Fortnite developer announced that it would not ban players or content creators for their political speech. In a statement made to The Verge, a spokesperson confirmed, quote, Epic supports everyone's right to express their views on politics and human rights. We wouldn't ban or punish a Fortnite player or content creator for speaking on these topics. Yeah, Blizzard will not be happy.
Okay.
Now remember,
What?
Fortnite is Tencent has a 40% majority or 40% shareholder on Fortnite. So for them to say that,
So what do you think Fortnite would do if they had people in like, you know, like pro-fascism stuff? If they won the tournament, what do you think they would do?
what do you mean? They would ban him.
Yeah, they'd ban him.
Yeah, of course. You can't have that.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Happy with that one. And the contrast here is actually notable because both companies have deep roots in China. Epic is partially owned by Tencent, actually a good bit more than Blizzard is, though it is still a private company with Tim Sweeney being the majority shareholder and ultimately the decision maker. Activision Blizzard, however, is 5% owned by Tencent. They also work with NetEase and things like Diablo Immortal, and it's kind of crazy because even though Epic are more linked with Tencent, they took the principled stance. Now, part of this is no doubt them being a private company, therefore being at less risk of making like a move that the financial markets would deem to be incorrect. Indeed, Blitzchung's actions and statement have resonated throughout the esports community, particularly within Hearthstone. During the Collegiate Hearthstone Championships, the American University team held up a sign that said, "Free Hong Kong, boycott Blizzard." The broadcast was, of course, quickly cut by Blizzard, instead moving over to another team's camera as Worcester Poly sealed their victory, and then they shortly reverted to very, very nervous-looking casters for the...
Wait, so they only pulled it out after they thought that they were going to lose?
Blizzard. The broadcast was, of course, quickly cut by Blizzard, instead moving over to another team's camera as Worcester...
Okay. I mean, like, they did lose. Might as well, exactly. Because they knew they'd get cut. Yeah, so they knew they were going to lose anyway. Doesn't mean that they wouldn't have done it if they had won. Yeah, but don't you feel like it's always a coincidence that all these people that are, you know, big activists about this stuff are the ones that are losing, about to get kicked out? I mean, like, come on, guys. Come on. I mean, like, this is... Listen. I'm very, very, very cynical about all of these things. I never trust anyone. I think everybody is always out just to get clout and attention for themselves. I think people don't have any sort of real morals at all. In a large sense, I think people just purely care about their own self-gain and self-aggrandizement. And whenever it suits them, they will conveniently... interpret or, you know, bring in morals, etc. You trust China? I don't trust anybody. They'll just do this occasionally in order to make themselves look good, right? If they had won that match, I don't think they would have pulled the sign up. What do you guys think the chances are that they would have pulled the sign up if they had won the match? Yeah, 0%. Come on.
Master Polly sealed their victory, and then they shortly reverted to very, very nervous-looking casters for the post-match analysis. The clip was quickly removed from Twitch, but has since appeared in an unofficial capacity, of course, on YouTube and Reddit.
Surprise.
Then past that, a number of Blizzard staff members have actually voiced their displeasure, and they've done so in a number of particularly striking ways that I think require a little bit of background context. So a photograph of Blizzard staffers doing an umbrella protest at the big orc statue was posted to the Hearthstone Reddit by one of the staffers in question. Now, this protest is an overt reference to the umbrella movement which emerged in the 2014 democracy protests at Hong Kong. Now, during these protests, umbrellas were used as a tool of passive resistance in response to the Hong Kong police's decision to use pepper spray to disperse a crowd, calling for greater transparency in election proceedings. The umbrella then regained its status as a symbol of protest recently when the Hong Kong police employed tear gas at a rally commemorating the 5th anniversary of the original umbrella movement. Now, that means that the Blizzard umbrella protest is therefore just deeply linked to the symbology and ideology of the Hong Kong protests and is completely unambiguous in its support for the movement. Then another employee-led protest is relating to Blizzard's core values. The entrance to Blizzard's California HQ in Irvine has a massive statue of a wolf-mounted orc warrior, and the statue is surrounded by a runed compass with Blizzard's 8 core values at its points. And 2 of these values, think globally and every voice matters, have been covered by angry Blizzard employees. This was shared on Twitter by an ex-Blizzard employee along with the caption,
I guarantee you that guy doesn't work on the WoW that guy does not work. Whoever put that on does not fucking work on the WoW team.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. Because if they did, there would be 2 pieces of tape on it and not 6. Like they would tape to like one side, the wind would have blown it over, and you would have still seen it, right? But like, you know, for this has got to be like somebody working over on Overwatch or, you know, one of the other games. Yeah, it's got to be like Overwatch.
No, this has Overwatch written all over it. Trust me.
Yeah, definitely the Overwatch team.
Not everyone at Blizzard agrees with what happened. Now, as you may expect, the backlash from fans has been the most pronounced, and it's impossible to ascertain the extent of follow-through in these sorts of things, but calls for a boycott of Blizzard products have been extremely loud. Both Blizzard and Boycott Blizzard have been trending globally on Twitter in the aftermath of Blitzchung's dismissal, and the story was also on the front page of Reddit before the thread was actually closed for, well, right now, unknown reasons. Fans have declared that they are cancelling memberships and uninstalling...
Is there a Reddit in China? I don't even know. I have no idea. No, okay. I guess actually, why would I have expected there would be?
Titles, while others are editing Blizzard characters to visually align them with a pro-Hong Kong stance. We've seen this particularly with May. Then past that, we've seen everything from longtime community mods actually just quitting on the Hearthstone Reddit to there being groups talking about how they can arrange protests at BlizzCon this November. I think perhaps the most indicative thing of the reach of this story has been that a number of US politicians have weighed in on Blizzard's behavior. So,
Donald?
Ron Wyden, a Democratic senator from Oregon, commented on the story by saying, Blizzard shows it is willing to humiliate itself to please the Chinese party. No American company should censor calls for freedom to make a quick buck. Then Republican Senator for Florida, Marco Rubio, has also been outspoken on the topic, imploring people to recognize that people who don't live in China...
I can't spill the water, but yeah, it's little Marco, dude. Little Marco coming in hot, dude. Wow. He's saving our game. That's amazing. Holy shit.
China must either self-censor or face dismissal and suspensions, and to acknowledge that China is using access to the market as leverage to crush free speech globally.
That actually is true.
Politicians have failed to comment on a story that originated from a Hearthstone tournament, that should speak volumes to the potential implications of this situation, and of course the influence that the Chinese party has in global media. Now, it shouldn't be understated that this is a big story. It's one with far-reaching implications for a number of different fields. I think it also calls into question the future of individuality in esports. It's nice that we've seen, say, you know, like Fortnite or Epic actually be in support of that, but with Blizzard less so. It kind of highlights the dangers also of corporate activism and how the mindset that a company like wishes to project is often far from the mindset they actually have. And then, of course, most overwhelmingly, it shows the influence of
I hate this shit, dude. Like, if you're a company, just make your fucking product and shut the fuck up. Like, I hate it whenever companies get involved with this political shit, because it's just a matter of time until something like this happens and everybody realizes that it was all fake to begin with. It was all completely fucking fake. They don't care about any of that shit. They just do it because they want to make money from people that are socially motivated.
Chinese money, and if you're more interested in that topic, I'd recommend reading into the Belt and Road Initiative. Staying focused on gaming and media though, well, China is a huge market and it's only going to be getting bigger. It's already the largest market for both PC and mobile gaming, and as such it can exercise a great deal of influence in the games industry. It's not even just games though. The Chinese box office is set to overtake the US one in 2020 and gross over $12 billion in revenue.
Holy
Such
shit.
a successful series of markets with a great deal of cash to bring in means that China are eager to increase their global standing here. And that means they're all too happy to throw about their money every which way and get more influence. The thing is that Western companies are very well aware of this Chinese money, China's desire to invest that money, and as such, they pretty much are happy to play ball wherever they can, even in instances like this, where they maybe have to change sections of games or just change some of their policies to fit with the party sensibilities. Blizzard are obviously more than happy to work within the boundaries of Chinese censorship to ensure that their games are distributed in the region, with things like Hearthstone cards being altered to remove references to taboo.
That's whenever they nerfed Jaina's boobs, because they had like her boobs, right? And then I guess assuming like probably people in China, right, go like, that's too much. Get those boobs out of here. They're too big. And then they put a shirt on her. They literally slut-shamed Blizzard into nerfing Jaina's boobs.
Subjects such as necromancers. Now, of course, for Blizzard, it's worth it as their properties have historically been hugely popular in China. And even to take a more recent example, the Warcraft movie that bombed in the US but performed phenomenally well in China. Of course, it was made by Legendary, who, funnily enough, are actually mostly China-owned.
Right? Yeah.
Now, money really is at the heart of all of this, and often money and morals don't particularly mix that well. Companies can and do manipulate how the public perceives them in a number of different ways, and one of those ways is through corporate activism, and I think this story shows how hollow that is. Now, corporate activism, that is referring to a company taking a stance that aligns it with, say, social change or something like that. Now, that can be a symbol of genuine support, or it can be a cynical sort of cash grab. Take Blizzard's support of, diversity and LGBTQ issues. That's well known through Overwatch. They gain a lot of support from people who cheer them on for, their games having a diverse cast with Overwatch that encompasses loads of different races, nationalities, sexualities. Blizzard, of course, use this to project a progressive, free-thinking attitude, one that, of course, will align with many of their staff, which means their staff are happy to do it. But, Blizzard will be fine with that. But the second that something like the Blitzchung situation happens, well, their morals will go out the window. Evidently, Blizzard's morals will only hold out for as long as the cash flow does. Their dismissal of Blitzchung and the two casters for participating in a protest of, an openly violent, oppressive regime that does show their willingness to bend the knee when it comes to, money. If the modern social values that Blizzard support in Overwatch weren't overall popular, we can be pretty sure they wouldn't be there because they wouldn't be profitable. And I think it's just made so clear by their decision-making in this case, especially as it is contrasted by Epic's. Their strategies are inherently contradictory, and there may just come a time where a lot of this stuff comes crashing down for Blizzard. And maybe it is that time now, and I think especially this is the case with their long-term esports focus. Blizzard have spent the last few years attempting to cultivate a squeaky clean esports image with outings such as the Overwatch League, something that has seen its fair share of disciplinary action and controversy, and indeed, I found very just heartless and alienating being a fan of, sort of the more old-school esports. Esports is personality penalty driven, right? It's player.
Well, I want to have like I want to have an esports team that's about a city, dude. Like, that's the coolest thing about esports is you can have one dude playing in fucking, well, I guess not Hong Kong, right? But like some dude playing in fucking Japan, or, you know, I guess Ping would be bad, right? One guy in Washington, another guy in Florida, one guy in Texas, and one other dude in New York, dude. It's 4 fucking dudes. They come together, they're boys, and they all meet up in real life, and they're gonna play together, and it's fucking awesome, dude. It is amazing. I love that. It's the main fucking thing that I like about online games. It is one of the coolest things about online games, is you can sit here, all of us right now in chat, all of us live in completely different places in the world, and we're all together doing things and talking, and you think about how fucking ridiculous that is. Up until the last 20 years, that was unheard of for all of human history, and now we do it every fucking day. It is amazing. And so in my opinion, I feel like the way that they're doing like the teams and like having to be sponsored by a fucking city and everything like that, it's just not for me. It's not for me. It's not what I hold in value, and I think it's cool about online games.
Driven. It's about seeing an opportunity to see people that you care about like perform well. Blizzard must understand this because the OWL has a huge amount of player-driven merchandising, you know, replica jerseys, in-game skins, the ability for viewers to vote in the MVP. But the thing is, individuals are individual. That's what makes them appealing to viewers, and obviously a nightmare for Blizzard. As Blitzchung has shown, players have their own opinions, and those opinions can be pretty real. They can have consequences, and Blizzard's handling of this whole situation speaks to a desire to curtail players' individuality while still retaining the draw of their star power. And that's something that's simply not compatible. This is, of course, a developing story. It's one that we will be sure to keep you updated on in the near future. Thus far, neither Blizzard President J. Allen Brack nor Activision Blizzard CEO Robert Kotick have responded to the situation.
Robert.
Evidently, the longer they wait, the harder it will be, especially if this disaster continues to escalate into BlizzCon, where they will no doubt struggle to quell protests. Protests that will be televised to millions and then reposted to millions more through the virtual ticket. And I think if there's anything to take away from this, it's that Blitzchung has accomplished his goal. He certainly has got much of the world talking about the issue. So with that, thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know what you think about the story down below. And with that, I will see you soon.
There it is. So, I don't know how much that's going to happen at BlizzCon. Like, BlizzCon's like a month from now. Like, people... Like, the amount of people that, like, stay attached to issues like this for, like, more than a few days and stuff, it's pretty unlikely. So, if I go to BlizzCon, like, if I IRL stream or something like that, like, I'll talk to people if they're doing that kind of stuff. But, I'm not really expecting to see a lot of that kind of shit happen. I'm really not. I'm gonna protest? Yeah, I mean, they'll probably remove you if you protest, though. I mean, like, if I was Blizzard, I'd remove people too, right? I mean, it's just kind of makes sense. But at the same time, I don't think it's really gonna be that big. I guess pretty soon, in less than a month, we'll find out, though. That's about it. Hong Kong protests have been going on for years. Yeah, I think so. There's a red shirt guy over a mobile game last year. Yeah, I mean, but like...
Wait,
go ahead.
Dude, you don't care about human rights?
What
Are you telling me that you don't care about human rights? Is that what you're saying on stream in front of everybody?
Obviously, that's what I'm saying.
Rights.
Obviously, that's what I'm saying.
It's confirmed he does not give a fuck about human rights.
There it is. It's just that simple.